Look, I'm not supposed to tell anyone, so don't rat on me. But you know the butcher? That freaking nut job that's just going around chopping people up? Well, the feds heard he was going to be at the podcast tonight. So they set up a trap for him. This whole podcast, it's a trap.
You're listening to Ka-Pow, the pop culture podcast. Comics, television, movies, and more. If it impacts fan culture, we have something to say about it. And now, your hosts, Jordan, Cliff, and Seth.
Hey there, everybody. Welcome back. We're glad to have you on another episode of Ka-Pow, the pop culture podcast. My name is Jordan Lowe.
Cliff Barnes.
I'm Seth.
How's everybody doing? Good.
Yeah. As well
has Olympic fever grabbed you?
No,
Nope.
it has not. I have to admit.
Yeah. What's that guy lost because of his dong? I was like, what hope is there for anybody?
I've not watched any of the games, but I follow the memes pretty closely. I'm pretty up on all the Olympic memes.
Yeah. That is, in fact, the only footage I know my wife has seen of the Olympics so far, is because she texted me one day at work and was like, made some comment about it. And I was like, how did you see that? Because she didn't follow it. She didn't follow any of that stuff. And then she was telling me I was like, oh yeah, how do you see that? And people at work were.
I follow a dong page on Facebook. That's
right. What who doesn't, right?
I had a guy stop in today at work carrying a backpack, and he comes right up to the desk and goes, "Hey, can I ask you a favor?" Okay. He's like, "Can you Google something for me? I don't have my phone with me." I was like, "Oh, okay." I'm thinking, does this guy need directions? Is he looking for a phone number? What's he want? So I pull up Google on my computer. I was like, so he takes his backpack off and he pulls out of the backpack a little Robin action figure. Like it was Robin from Teen Titans Go, the animated looking guy, and it had big feet and big hands. Like it looked almost like a kid, the kinds with like they're easier to grip or whatever. So I didn't. So and he sits it on my counter. Doesn't say where. He just put like boing and just plants it on the counter. I'm like, yes. What are you asking me?
Dispenser in a seat next to you.
So I pick it up. I'm like, okay. He's like, could you basically like, could you Google this? I'm like, what is this? Like, you got to give me a little more information. He's like, yeah, I just wanted to Google it. I'm like, dude,
I feel like he thinks he probably has already Googled it and thinks he's tricking you into thinking this is worth a bunch of money or something. He's going to Google this and find out it's worth so much money he's going to buy it from me.
And I said, I don't know where to start. I was like, I don't know what kind, I don't know what brand it is. I don't know what series it is. I was like, it could be a Happy Meal toy. It could be a part of a set of, something. I was like, I don't even, Google Robin toy. How many results are you going to get? So I was just like flabbergasted. I was like, I was trying to be polite, but I'm like, I don't even know where to start. He goes, oh, okay, thanks anyway. Puts it back in his backpack and bought, like he was not, didn't fight, didn't like try to convince me, didn't give me any information. He just said, Google my Robin. I was like, I can't help you. And he's like, well, then have a good day, sir. And he just left. I don't know what happened. It was weird. It was very weird.
What kind of maniac doesn't have a phone? That's all I can think.
That's a red flag to start with.
He's like, he's got a real Robin toy.
He traded the phone for the Robin toy.
Yeah, so that's got to be worth more than a phone.
Obviously.
Okay.
Wow.
So what if we did a you know me? What toy did you carry around before you got a phone?
What toy would you be the first to Google?
You down with KPP?
Yeah, you know me.
What the hell? hell is wrong with you people?
What's wrong with you? What is wrong with you?
I hate so much about the things that you choose to be. Why are you the way that you are?
Oh, yeah, you know me.
Done that in a while. What do we got up our sleeve?
I got a question. This is a fun question that should be easy to answer, I think, for the three of us.
Oh, okay.
What are you currently collecting?
Oh my.
Is there something new? You doing the same old, same old? We all have collections of stuff. What are you currently collecting? What are you seeking out right at the moment?
Well, I'm always looking for comics. I always have a want list. I know what I'm missing from my collection, so I'm always adding to that. So that's not anything new. But I have gotten sucked into the G.I. Joe classifieds, the action figures. So these have been out. These have been out for a long time. These have been coming out for years, and I thought they were neat. I thought they looked cool. I would see them in stores and be like, "Yeah, those are really nice." But I was just like, I don't need them. I don't need to dive into this.
Are these a 6-inch?
6-inch.
Yeah.
Yes.
Yeah.
So I think part of it was because they were so cool. Like they have super detail. There's pouches and holsters and knife sheaths for knives, and they come with a ton of equipment. And they look they've been like updated to look more modern and more realistic. As a 6-inch toy can look a lot more detailed than the 3 3/4. So they were almost like too, they look too authentically military. I was like, yeah, that's cool, but it's not my G.I. Joe. I like the colorful G.I. Joe guys. So then I'm at the store and I see the ones on the card backs that look like the old school packaging, where it has the red and orange explosions, but there's no branding on it. As far as what I was like, are these classified? They were 6 inches. I wasn't sure. So
That's the new line of classified.
Yeah, so I did a little looking into it, and those are technically the retro
card
classified,
yep.
The retro series. So it's a lot of the same sculpts. They're kind of reissuing a lot of the same characters, but with a more retro look. The paint schemes look a little more like the comics and the cartoon. And I saw Scarlet at Walmart. I was like, that looks amazing. Like, that was the coolest figure I've seen in ages. And right behind her was a Duke. I'm like, oh, Duke. Okay. So I was just like, I have to have these. So I'm jumping into this. And then in my brain, I tried to contort myself, like, because I had gotten
mental gymnastics. Did it take to do that?
So Cliff had gotten, it was a couple years ago for Christmas. You got me a Stalker figure. I'm like, oh, this is gonna start something, but it didn't. I held out. But then I thought, if I ever do, I'll just go for the original 13. Stalker's one of the originals. I'll go original 13. That, like Cliff's Ewoks, I'll just keep it.
Yeah. We all know how that worked out.
Just like he did.
Yeah.
Just like he did. He stuck religiously to that. Yeah.
So I'm standing in Walmart. I own a Stalker. I have Scarlet in my hands. I'm like, I could stick with the 13. I could still keep that plan. And I see Duke, and I grab Duke. I'm like, I'm getting Duke too. Because in my brain, since 1982, I've never been able to. I confuse Hawk and Duke, and I still, to this day, can't tell Hawk and Duke apart. So Duke is not an original 13, but I bought him anyway, and I got him home. I'm like, wait a minute, I just broke my own rule, thinking this was Hawk.
Oh, can't go back now.
So I think maybe it was my subconscious knowing I was never going to stick to 13.
Oh, you're already almost $100 in. I mean.
Yeah.
So I swung by Ollie's after that. I was like, I know I'd seen a Lady J there.
Yep.
Because they had a bunch of the movie toys, which I'm not getting any of the movie Snake Eyes movie toys. So like they had one Lady J left. So I'm like, all right, I got 4. It's like, I wonder what Diamond has. So I get home and I log into my Diamond account. I was like, can I order these individually? Oh, hey, there's a bunch coming out this fall. Sweet. I start adding them to my cart. So I'm like, all right, I'm in. Let's do it.
I love it.
And then the next day, I got online and was looking for shelving because I don't have enough shelves for that. So I'm trying to figure out some shelving solutions for all this stuff. So that's what's on my mind. I'm G.I. Joe crazy. This Kickstarter omnibus, all this stuff. I've been thinking a lot about Joe's lately, and I'm all aboard.
Cliff, what are you collecting?
Well, the aforementioned, I've talked about that original vintage Kenner Star Wars line. Still working on it. I have, since 2020, accumulated most of the figures. They're not all complete. Some are, some aren't. Started with those Ewoks. I have all the Ewok figures. There are just at this point a few of the last 17 that I don't have some representation of, because some of those figures are so expensive I can't do it. But I found a little bit, started as I got back into it, I found the custom Stan Solo in particular figures. He had done in the past a run or runs of most of those figures. So I do have representations that are, knockoffs or customs or whatever. They look identical to the vintage Kenner. And I'm okay with that. Like, that is fine for me. This is my collection. I'm not here to sell it. I'm not here to show it off or, to display it in public. Like, this is for me. So with that, I have that started a whole thing with Star Wars. Much like Jordan, just recently, because I've always been 3 3/4 inch, right? 3 3/4 inch, no 6 inch, no modern 6 inch figures. They're much more expensive and they take up more room. And one day, I don't think I've told this on the podcast. Right before we went to Disney World last month, I'd seen some toy hunting videos that I watch every now and again on YouTube. Saw several where there were some Indiana Jones figures that I had never seen before. It's the Indiana Jones Adventure series that came out, started I think a couple years ago. 6 inch, ultra realistic, great sculpts, like everything Jordan was saying, but Indiana Jones. So these are not a lot of figures, but I went to Ollie's one day on my lunch and was like, oh, here's a whole wave. Looked at them. Oh, they're short round. Well, I should get a short round. Temple of Doom's my favorite indie movie. Here's the Temple of Doom indie. I'll take both of those. I'll be good. That's cool. Stick them on the shelf. I'll be done with that. $10 a piece. What a great deal. Normally $24.99 retail. Left the other ones there. Cool. I go to Disney World. I'm at Disney World. Coming out of Pirates of the Caribbean and the gift shop. Look down. Oh, hey, here's some indie stuff. Oh, that's cool. What's that doing in here? Oh, this is cool. Look down. There's out of the same series, a figure I had not even seen. It's from Raiders of the Lost Ark. It's the fertility idol scene, the beginning scene of the movie where he's got the sandbag and the golden statue and it has the little platform it's a very cool. I was like, okay. End up buying that by the end of the vacation. So I come home and I'm like, I wonder if Ollie still has any of those. So I go back. The only thing they have are 2 flea bags. But if I buy the flea bag, it completes the build figure thing, which is the for that one wave was the Shankara stones in the big skull. So it completes the skull. I don't have the stones yet. So I'm like, okay, well, I'll have the skull. That'll look cool sitting behind it on the shelf. So I buy that. So that...
Is that why we're having a drought? Because you lost the stones?
Yes.
It's not raining in our village.
I can't find the stones.
All our grass is done.
So that is a totally new thing out of nowhere.
But that rich guy up the path has all these new figures.
Right. So I started that. I don't know how far I'm going to take that. From what I've gathered online, Hasbro has kind of shelved the Adventure series. I think they did 4 waves. The figures are super cool, but they don't have like there's several characters that they didn't do. I've seen some fan customs trying to 3D print them or whatever, but so I'm not sure how far I'm going to go with that. But if Ollie's gets some more of these figures at the $10 price point, I'm sure I'm going to pick them up. I wished I had picked up the other 2 or 3 that I left laying that first day. But so there's that. There's also a brand new thing. I started a couple days ago. So anybody that remembers listening to way back when we had like our favorite toy lines or whatever growing up, whatever that list was, we did. Russ was on that show. So growing up, one of my absolute favorite lines besides Star Wars was the Kenner DC Superpowers, which has come back. Now, I do not have any of my original superpowers from back in the day, but I fondly remember them, and I've kind of kept an eye on this new continuation of the collection that's come out. But I was like, I'm not buying that. I don't need it. I don't have the space for it. Blah, 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 blah.
I'm not buying that. That you're not buying that.
So a couple days ago, I'm at Walmart, and suddenly...
Exactly.
Here's what happened. They came out with a blue... They came out with They came out with a Blue Beetle figure, and they came out with the Bug.
Booster Golds or Booster Gold? And
Booster Gold came out this week.
Yeah. Yeah.
So
Confessions.
So I'm at Walmart, and I'm like, I wonder if they have those. Which they didn't. They didn't have either one. Okay, they did have some figures, but they didn't have either one of those. So I was like, okay, cool. So I'm in the toy aisle, and I'm looking down, and they've got on clearance the new Batmobile. One of my favorite toys growing up was I had the Kenner Batmobile with Batman and Robin, and I absolutely loved that car. Well, this one's modeled off of that. It's a little different. It's a little sleeker, but it was on clearance for $14. They had 2. I was like, okay. Am I going to buy this? The answer was yes. Yes, I'm going to buy. I don't have any figures, but I'm going to buy this Batmobile. It's $14. I don't care. It's $14. I think I need
bright
this.
Yellow packaging, I assume.
Oh, yeah, classic.
With the logo just flaring out.
Yes. So I opened it up. Pretty cool. Feels a lot like the old one. I was like, okay, I can instantly see the appeal to collectors of this line. Sat down. Since then, I've been looking online at that Booster Gold figure. Sat down about 2 hours ago right here and got on the game. Found them on GameStop because I couldn't find that Blue Beetle figure. So I purchased the Blue Beetle, the Booster Gold, and what the hell, we'll get a Guy Gardner in there too. So I started that today.
I blamed the tax-free holiday. I went a little nuts, holiday shopping and all. We had Ohio had a whole week of tax-free shopping. I was like, I can't afford not to buy this stuff.
I'm like, what am I doing?
Well, before I tell you what I'm collecting, I'll show you what I'm not collecting, but how close I came to going down the wrong path. I'm sending you guys a picture right now. If you'll check your phones or your Robin figures, whatever you have.
Oh.
They almost got
Return complete. Are you kidding? Like
I ordered the Beachhead,
the retro
G.I. Joe Classified 6-inch retro on card because there's cards. It was a card. it was the card back that killed me. I didn't care about the little boxes. I didn't like the boxes, so I didn't want anything to do with it.
It's that.
And they came with these
on
dang
the bubble.
retro cards.
Oh, yeah.
6 inches, and that beachhead just looked so good.
I have seen
so
that
good.
thing all over the place with collectors. Just everybody loves it.
It looks so good. And
There's
I
one
was
in
like,
there's one in my cart from Diamond.
yeah, I was just like, I is this going to be the one that breaks me? You know, like, so
Yeah.
I ended up ordering, and I got it. I opened up the box. I got it out. I looked at it. No, I didn't open up the package. I just, opened up the box that came in. And I got it out and I held it. And I was like, now what do I do with it?
It didn't spark joy with
Yeah.
And I looked around and I was like, okay, I'm done. And I put it back in the box. And I took it to UPS, drop off, and I returned it to Amazon. So that was the extent of my figure collecting. I bought a beachhead and took it back the day
I mean,
that I got it.
I was with you. Like, I stopped a long, long time ago. And then, I had kids. And
Oh, that was great. That was
But-
when I had kids. I was like, Nick had hundreds of Star Wars vehicles and toys because it was, as far as I was concerned, they were mine. So it's just like, I get to have all this stuff again and pretend it's my kids. It's great.
But
like,
I did even, like, Cooper had all kinds of toys, superhero toys out the ass, Star Wars figures, but I was okay with those being his for the most part. Like, I was perfectly fine. Like, I do not, I don't know. And like, he grew up and something happened in 2020 and I was just like, I still like toys. Why don't I have
I think
them?
some of that's rubbed off on me of like, because I've got stuff, but they're all in boxes. They're all in, Tupperware totes.
Put away.
And I just don't have space for them. And it's like, why? Like, I'm denying myself something that I enjoy just because I'm like, I don't need it. I'm grown up. It's like, but watching you go to Big Fun and dig through the bins and going to all these cons and looking for that one little piece, I'm like, yeah, that's fun. I forgot.
It is fun.
There's a joy to that.
Yeah. Yeah.
So
we went when we were in Indianapolis, we stopped at some flea market place, and I used to go all the time to these places to go look at Matchbox cars or Hot Wheels.
Mm-hmm.
Because I still have a collection of those in the basement. Like, that was just something fun to look for. There were certain cars you were always looking for.
Yeah, they don't cost much money. Like,
it was cheap, and it was Anyway, to get to what I collecting, because I'm a child. I like to collect things that are fun to me. So I collect games. I went to Gen Con, guys. And it was just like I don't know. First year I went was 2015. So it's probably my 8th time.
Yeah.
Maybe 7th or 8th time we've went in the last 10 years. Anyway, we went and actually only bought one game, but the thing I tend to buy is RPG stuff.
Right.
I bought, books for stuff, so I bought a bunch of RPG books, and just to spark ideas and things for whatever I'm running. But I'll tell you about Gen Con.
Challenge your imagination to come alive and to battle with the creatures of Dungeons and Dragons.
52!
You shot my battleship. I got a bingo! What do I win?
It's Operation the Wacky Doctor's game where you're the wacky doctor. Batteries not included.
I blew it! My turn.
Shall we play a game?
Of course, went with my son, Nick. He plays in that Unmatched, that very popular card battling, and has figures too. It's very HeroClixy. It's a little more, I don't know. I wouldn't even know how to compare it. I never played HeroClix, but it's figures and you got cards and you move them around, fight. Anyway, he got in some tournaments for that, and it was kind of fun to watch him play. And he's did pretty good last year when he played. And there was one tournament he was in this year that was fun. It was like everybody had 3 characters that they just they did a draft for. Like the company had all the characters out there, and you drafted your characters, and then everybody would have 3, and you would just fight in groups of 4 and battle until if your guy died, you just got your next guy out. Well, then he's fresh and everybody else is weak, and you keep going until anyway, they got down to the final 4, and each of them in that final fight each had 2 wins, and Nick was the last one to be down to his last guy. So it was all tied up. Everybody's down to the last guy. But when they finally got him down to 1, and when he goes to pull out the character he has left, it was his best one. It was his number 1 draft. He had not used it the whole time. And so I was there. They're just like all flipping out about it, all these nerds. And then he wasted them. And it was great. It was awesome. He won that tournament. It was called a Blitz tournament. They had all these different kinds of ways to play that game, and it was fun. And he did really good in all the ones he was in, except the very last one. For the first time, he got knocked out in the first round, and I was like, "Well, that's surprising. I can't believe he got knocked out in the first round." He said, "Yeah, well, the guy he was playing he was the designer of the character that he was playing." And I was like, wow. He's like, yeah, I did not feel bad losing to the guy that designed the character. Anyway, he had a good time doing that. I got to go get the new D&D Players Handbook that dropped at Gen Con. It comes out in about 6 weeks on the streets. But you can get it there. It was there was like a lottery, basically. There was 80,000 people there and 2,000 copies of this book. So they would release 700 over Thursday, Friday, Saturday. And you had to get up at 7 o'clock in the morning and try to buy it. Try to buy a ticket to get a ticket to get it. And the first day I did not get it. And I was like, well, this day's ruined. It's just immediately, I was like, 7 o'clock in the morning, I got to do this. And I didn't get it.
Sounds like a Disney World day.
Yeah.
You got to get up at 7 in the morning to buy my Disney Genie to see if I can ride a certain ride.
Exactly. I hate that stuff. And Gen Con is always, you get there and they open the doors at 10 and you rush in to try to go get the game that you're trying to get that they're only going to have a limited number of copies of and all this. And I was like, I'm not doing that this year. I was like, there was no board game that I wanted bad enough to do that. And I was so happy about that, that I was never going in the doors at 10 o'clock, and I never did. But I wanted this player's handbook. I was like, well, I either win the ticket or I don't. And I did not. And I was like, well, that stinks. I was like, Nick, tomorrow morning, you're getting up at 7 also. And we're both doing it on our phone to try to get it. That was Friday morning. And I mean, as soon as the phone hit 7 o'clock, and you could not do it a second early. As soon as it's 7, boom, we both hit her. Nope, didn't get it. I was like, okay, well, I'm not doing that again. I'm going to go solve this manually. So I hate this. Like, if there's winners and losers in something, I don't want to be anywhere near the winners. When the game's over, I like, congratulations. Let's go. Let's get away from this, but I looked up if you did get a ticket to go get the handbook, where did you go pick it up? It was over in Lucas Oil Stadium on one of the concourses down in some alcove. And they were also selling those new D&D U.S. postage stamps. But I go down there and look at it, just all these winners. Literally everybody there had won that lottery. There's like hundreds of people standing in line to get this book. And I was like, I hate all these people because I know that they all are thinking, well, that was easy.
Yeah.
I was like, I was like, well, I'm walking out of here with a book. That's all I do. So I start walking up the line. It's like, I'll buy your book. You don't want it. I'll give you a little extra for it. $20 extra. Oh, you can do better than that. It's like, nah, come on. I'm looking for somebody. Anybody wants to come back and get it tomorrow? It was easy, wasn't it? They're like, yeah. Like you can just come get it tomorrow. Make $20. No. Do you know what these are selling for on eBay? Somebody said, and I was like, oh shoot. I had not checked that. I was like, I bet they are and they were selling for hundreds of dollars on eBay. Like it was $50 to buy it there, cover price, but people were turning around selling on eBay for over $200 that morning immediately. I was like, well, I'm not paying that. I was like, in fact, it made me want to enter the lottery again and get books and try to sell. But I don't usually mess with that. Anyway, nobody in the whole line. But I started getting towards the back of the line. I'm like, well, these people aren't going to want to stand in line the whole time and then sell their books. So I was like, I give up. I just went to the exit. I was like, where they're coming out. They're going to be walking out with the book. And so I stood there on my phone and played for 15 minutes or so, and people were coming out. And occasionally I'd see a couple, and they each had a book. I was like, wow, you guys got 2 books. You want to sell one? No. Finally, I was just sitting on my phone and wasn't paying attention for a minute and looked up, and a man and a woman and their son came walking up the steps, and they're all 3 holding a book. And I'm like, these people, I guarantee, thought that was so freaking easy, and they all 3 won the lottery. I was like, that's ridiculous to me. And they came up walking up the steps, and before I could say anything, the old lady says, well, now what do I do with this? They had made her do the lottery and buy a book. I was
and you grab it like the marble rye on Seinfeld.
Yeah,
it's exactly, old bag?
You are so. We literally made that reference because Nick just recently watched Seinfeld, and so we make him all the time. I was like, "Give it to me, old bag." Oh, that's hilarious because we made that exact reference. Now she said, "Well, how would I do with this?" I said, "Sell it to me. I'll give you $20 extra." And she's like, "Really?" And looked at me like I was trying to pull a fast one.
Yeah.
And her husband and the kids just stood there holding their books. They didn't care. And she goes, well, are you serious? I was like, so I lied. I was like, yeah, I'm not going to be here tomorrow. And I didn't win the lottery. So this is my only chance. And she was like, oh, well, can I keep the die that they gave me? They must have gave him some die. And I was like, yes, I do not care. You can keep the die. She's like, okay, sold it to me. I was like, thank you very much. I was very happy. I didn't have to get up the next morning again and try to win the lottery. So I got to read over that the last week.
Huh.
And it was fun.
Worth $70. Huh?
Oh, totally, yeah.
Yeah.
Totally. I've done a lot of good reading on it. I bought other RPG books. I got a couple Griffin Saddlebag books that are known for having a bunch of good items to put into your campaign. I always use them online, their Instagram account. Thought I'd actually get some books. Got some indie book called Deathmatch Island, kind of based on the Battle Royale movie. So that might be a fun one to run. I got several books, but I collect that stuff. And I got a ton of. I decided if I when and if I do my next campaign after Dragon Age, or maybe simultaneously. I've bought a whole bunch of books on this system called Mothership, which is like a space game, kind of a alien type thing. And it's fun to read. I just like to read these books, even if I never use them. I get ideas from them and enjoy reading them. Anyway, we had a great time. We ate a bunch of good places. I told you we were going to the Brazilian steakhouse, and that was the worst meal we had. It was way too expensive, and they tried to give us a lot of chicken. I was just like, what are you doing? I was like, if you bring me another skewer of chicken legs, I'm going to flip this table. Yeah, I was like, okay. He left. But yeah, they were pretty stingy for a while. We ended up getting good stuff, but it's like you'd already sat there for an hour and a half. It's like, quit being stingy. People are paying a lot of money for this place. I'll never go back. But we got to eat at our fave Thai restaurant, Bodhi's, again, and we ate it. That was Friday night. Saturday night, that was Thursday. Friday, we ate a Vietnamese restaurant, and Saturday we ended at Raskeller's, the German restaurant bar, and there in downtown Indy, and it was really good. Really good. I'm German. I like German food. So we ate good. I did end up buying a board game. It was one of the hotness games of the con called Arcs. It's from Leader Games. I really like the artwork they do in their games. All of their games are 4-lettered words, no cuss words, but they had Vast, Oath, Root, something else. And then now this is Arcs. It's their space game, and it was getting a bunch of buzz, and they ran out. They sold out immediately on Thursday and sold out immediately on Friday. They would try to ration them. And on Saturday, I happened to be walking the aisles, and they had a bunch of them. They're like, we went ahead and brought everything we had left. And I was like, oh, okay. Well, I walked on. But then right before we left the con on Saturday, so I'll go see if they have any left. I walked over there and had 5 left. Like, oh, okay. Now it's scarce. Now I'm interested. So I was like, show me this game. Tell me all about it. They told me all about it. I still wasn't convinced, but I just had not bought a board game. And I went through this whole con for 3 days. And I bought it, even though, and I immediately had buyer's remorse because I was like, oh, because I bought it and I bought the special pieces and the extra cards and everything. And I was like, because I just really like the artwork. But then I got it home and learned how to play it, and I freaking loved this game. So I'm so glad I got it. I would have never got it after the fact. So super happy I got it. I did a Kickstarter for a game called Alice is Missing, which is a very interesting type game. Like you set and you are prompted. Everybody texts. You just sit there and text each other as if a friend of you. It has warnings for people with like depression and stuff. Like you have like prompts, and you are all friends with this Alice in some way, and and then you sit there and text each other as if she's went missing, and it's super like the game like won awards and stuff. Well, they can't. I've had it for a couple of years, never played it because I want to have the right group, and they came out with some extras for it for a Kickstarter, and I ordered them. And I was very irritated because this happens all the time. You'll go to a con and people will be selling the game. And I don't mind that, where they just get done and they're selling it at Gen Con. That's fine. I don't mind that. That's always happens. And the backers stuff is on the way, But we went to one of those board game store like tavern places that had people playing board games and sell they were selling games. It was a really neat place, and they had a whole bunch of them in there they were selling. I was like, okay, this is ridiculous. I do not have mine, and I back this. A lot of people were mad, but it's in the mail. It's supposed to get here Monday. That's pretty much it for that. One thing we did do was go see that M. Night Shyamalan movie, Trap.
I gotta go to the bathroom.
Okay, Dad.
What's with all the police everywhere? I'm not supposed to tell. You know the butcher? The freaking nut job that goes around chopping people up? The feds heard that he's gonna be here today. So they set up a trap for him. This whole concert, it's a trap. They're watching all the exits, they're checking everyone that leaves. There's no way to get out of here. I've never felt this before. I feel out of control.
Shoot left. Where should I put her?
Thank you.
This individual that we're searching for won't panic. He's realized he can't get out. He's going to try to cause chaos.
Dad, what are you doing? You're acting weird.
This dude is next level insane.
What's happening?
I think you're looking for me.
Sorry, guys.
Sorry. Sorry.
How you all doing? You having fun? Woo!
Come closer.
What's going on, Daddy?
Open the goddamn door! I can't get away. I can't stop. I'll just do this one last one.
Enjoy the rest of the concert.
I assume neither of you saw that.
No, I
Right? No?
I even bought the stupid unlimited pass, and I haven't went to anything since Deadpool.
Oh my gosh. I thought that's the best trailer of the year. Like, I loved the trailer, the first trailer. That's the only one I saw. I was just, very, very into it. Like, this could be something really great. And big fan of M. Night, and he had some of my favorite movies. Been a couple sketchy ones, but all in all, I like him. I was like, I'm gonna go watch this movie. We were so psyched to watch it, and it was great. It was the bulkering movie. Like, that guy is, I'm not gonna spoil anything, but that guy is an insane person. That he makes these movies. I decided that it looks good on paper to him. Like, he's writing it as like, this is going to be so good when somebody says this or when somebody does this. But then when the actors actually say those things out loud, it's ridiculous. It's like laugh out loud. We were like laughing. You could not help but laugh at some of the stuff in this movie that was so ridiculous. But man, he goes for it. More of this, please. I always think, anytime he does anything weird, I think of Signs, and just Joaquin Phoenix saying, it felt wrong not to swing. Well, swing away, M. Night. You just keep going for it, because you do the craziest freaking movies. This was nuts. It twist upon twist until I was seeing twists that never happened, and it's just like, you're just like, what's gonna happen next? There's just like stupid twist after twist. Like, it's going to be this crazy thing, like, I don't know. There's been a lot of people saying they hate it. It's very polarizing. We had a great time. It wasn't exactly what I was hoping for, but I definitely recommend it.
Did you
You'll have a good time.
You see it in the big theater? One of those like
we saw it in a good theater. Yeah, we couldn't get over
IMAX
how good
or
no,
where you eat dinner
we've been to this theater before. It's the Indianapolis 17, but they have IMAX and they have Dolby theaters, but those were only things showing in the IMAX and the Dolby were Deadpool. So Trap was in a different theater, but it looks so good compared to our theater. It's ridiculous. It's ridiculous how good it looked. So we enjoyed it, and I recommend it if you just want to have a good, fun, stupid time at the movies and see M. Night. That's about it. It was a good trip. I'm still on vacation since our last episode. Still have 3 days of my 17 days off left. I got to go to a doubleheader and see the Guardians a couple of days ago because the day before got rained out, so they just gave me an extra game on my day. And it was awesome.
Pretty sweet.
Perfect weather. But I don't have any figures, so don't have that going for me. It was funny. One funny thing that happened. Nick, I was like, "Where are you at?" And he's like, "I'm playing this game." It was called Stock Exchange, but it was like about vegetables, so it was stock.
Yeah.
Whatever, I don't know, but I knew what the game was. I thought I was like, I know where that game's played at, and I go over there to where it was, where they have all these tables set up, and he's not there. It's like, well, first he's like, I'm playing a game at 4. And it was like 10 after 4. He put 400. So I thought he meant 4 o'clock because it was 10 after 4. So I walk all the way over to where Unmatched tournament's going. He's not there. He's like, no, I'm at section 400. I was like, playing Stock Exchange. I was like, okay. So I walk over there to where actually those games are supposed to be. I was like, he doesn't know where he's at. And he wasn't there. So I was like, okay, he must really be at 400. I go to 400. And he's in the Dice Tower booth, which anyone else in that place would have known where they were except Nick. Like, the Dice Tower is the #1 board game review YouTube channel or whatever. So he's we lost Jordan.
We lost Jordan.
So
I don't know what happened.
It's the #1 place. And he would recognize the main guy, but the guy was standing behind him. I finally walk over there, and that Tom Vassell, this super tall guy, the main guy that runs it, is standing right behind Nick. And I'm like, I was like, I can't believe you didn't know where you were. And he's telling me about the game, how much he liked it. And he goes, and this gray-haired guy across from me was so mad at my strategy, was saying like, oh, I can't believe you're not going to do this, like, because he wanted him to do something to help him. And the next day, he was on all of their channels. He was on the YouTube thing they released. He's sitting there playing that game. He was on their Instagram. He was everywhere. Nick was on there playing this game. And I was like, you were playing. The gray-haired guy was Eric Summer. He's like this Pixel Dan of this place.
Exactly. Yeah.
I was like, you were ticking him off, and you didn't even know who the hell he was. It was just so funny.
Yeah.
Oblivious. I was sending him clips. I was like, well, here you are on this, here you are on that. He's like, I didn't know what was going on. It was funny.
Yeah, I don't know.
I think Jordan fell asleep. He looked like he was falling asleep.
He did.
There.
I don't know what happened. But I knew you were there, and I started seeing TikToks from Gen Con, and I didn't know what a dice goblin was. Apparently, that's a thing. People that
you say so.
Yeah, I was like, I don't
know what a dice goblin is.
Apparently, people that just collect dice.
Okay, yeah, I've heard that term. Yeah. I have heard that term. People, yeah. I don't. do that. I have a bunch of dice, but I don't.
Sure.
I quit buying them. Yep.
Well,
okay.
Yeah.
I think we're done.
I think so. I think that's an episode. I hope we
caught him.
Yeah.
We caught him by the end of the episode. I told you this podcast was a trap. The feds have swarmed in and captured Jordan Lowe. It had to happen. He tried to get out the whole time. He tried to escape. Oh, he's back.
He's back. There he is.
I told you we'd get him.
Am I back?
You're back.
We trapped you.
Are we still recording?
Yeah.
Yeah, we're still.
Just at the end here.
You looked like you fell asleep.
I was hearing the audio, but the picture froze and then Zoom locked up, but I can still hear the audio for most of it.
Oh, okay. It's over now. Yep. We're ready to sign off. Sign us off.
Well, last I heard you were talking about Dice Tower.
Right.
Right?
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
So did they do the Dice Tower Awards at Gen Con?
Yes.
Is that a thing?
Yeah. Yes, they do. See, even Jordan has heard of the Dice Tower.
Okay. Well, I saw a headline that a game I bought for my nieces won Best Party Game at the Dice Tower Awards, and it was just a complete random thing. I just happened to buy them. It's called Blob Party. I don't know if you're familiar with that one. You have that?
I have it.
So you use like a little Play-Doh thing to make your own blob, and it's kind of a categories type thing. You get a category, and you have to say something. And if
googly eyes on it.
Right. So if you match with someone, you mash your little googly-eyed Play-Doh monsters together, and you form a bigger creature. So you have to try to form the biggest creature. I got it for my nieces for Christmas, just completely at random, not knowing if it was a good game or not. And I was like, hey, I picked right. They won an award.
Yeah, it's not a thinker, but it's a good game for kids. Like my nephews both love playing it, so definitely a good one to get. Yes, it did win a Dice Tower Award. So that's it.
Okay,
I think we did it.
Just in time to quit.
Yep.
All right. Thank you, everybody. I hope you enjoyed that. And we'll be back for more soon. My name is Jordan Lowe.
Cliff Barnes.
Seth. Not forever.
Ka-Pow, the pop cultured podcast, is intended for entertainment and information purposes only. Sounds, music, and clips played during the podcast are property of copyright holders. All original content is property of www.udownwithkpp.com. If you enjoyed this podcast, please subscribe and leave a comment. Ka-Pow, the pop cultured podcast, can be found on Apple Podcasts, Google Podcasts, Podbean, Spotify, and wherever podcasts can be found. You can connect with us through social media on Facebook, YouTube, at the Ka-Pow Podcast on Twitter, or email the show, Ka-Pow, the pop cultured podcast @gmail.com. If you really want to go the extra mile, join our Patreon at patreon.com/udownwithkpp for special content and access to Patreon-only benefits. We are grateful for anyone who chooses to contribute, but please know that most of our content will remain free. So please continue to like, comment, and share.